Hi, so good afternoon. I think it's already noon, almost noon. Good afternoon, everyone. So my name's Grite Nelson, and from Tanzania. I work for the Nelson Mandela African Institution of Science and Technology, which is based in Arusha, but also okay. But also I work with the African Center for Aquatic Research and Education, ACARE, that his office is based here in Michigan. So I'm in one of the network of the African scientists who are working with the African Great Lakes. And today my talk will be more on sharing the research avenue that we have with the application of AI, particularly looking at the best way of management and monitoring the African Great Lakes. As we all know, most of the African Great Lakes, they are very important, not only in biodiversity, but also in socio-economic activities, particularly to the riparian countries. So I will just take you through on where do we foresee like AI can be applied and how best can it help in the management of these African Great Lakes. So just to give you a glimpse of what are the African Great Lakes, maybe someone might be asking him or herself. They are located in East Africa, so somewhere here in East Africa, and they compose about 25% of the world's water. So they are very important. Looking at the Laurentian Great Lakes, they compose about 23, so the African Great Lakes, they compose about 25 of the world's water. And these lakes, they support about 62 million of people in the 10 riparian countries, as you can see from the maps. So their member states include Tanzania, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, and Burundi. And they are very important in terms of fisheries and some other socioeconomic activities. But also looking in terms of food, and the African Great Lakes, they yield about 1.5 million tons per year of the fisheries. And these fish, they are very important in the entire fisheries circular economy in these member countries. But also looking at the biodiversity, African Great Lakes, they are very key in biodiversity, particularly having most of the endemic species that are only found in these Great Lakes. And in terms of fish, they contain over 10% of all fish species of freshwater fish in the world. But with all of this beauty and the importance, but also they are facing several challenges like other Great Lakes in the world. And the main one I've listed here, they are pollution, overexploitation of resources, habitat degradation, and also the impact of climate change. That is really. But looking on African Great Lakes, why AI? I'm just trying to bring an idea. Like in most of the lakes, we depend on traditional lake monitoring approaches, which is time-consuming. It's also costly, but somehow also it is limiting in data accuracy and data efficiency, and also that makes even to having data gaps and low response in time. So what do we need? So we need innovative and data-driven solution for sustainable management of African Great Lakes. And where now even ACARE comes in, where it's trying to bring up all the stakeholders from these Great Lakes that they can come together and find possible solution for monitoring and also management of these lakes. So what we say, like AI can transform the monitoring and management of African lake lakes by looking on how best we can generate better data for better decision in the management and monitoring of these lakes. So I'm just trying to take you in some 3 or 4 aspects on where we foresee like how AI can be used in the management and monitoring of African Great Lakes for the better management of these lakes. The first thing is on automated water quality monitoring. As we all know, we can have AI-powered sensors like the buoys that they can aid continuous data collection, like tracking water quality issues. And we can use this data with machine learning models just to analyze trends and detect anomalies in these African Great Lakes. And what are the impacts? So we foresee the impact is early detection of water pollution, allowing for rapid intervention, like the cyanobrooms, some issues in sediment, some issues in heavy metals in these lakes. And in some of the lakes, looking at Lake Tanganyika and Lake Victoria, we have data buoys that have been deployed to monitor meteorological and water quality parameters in real time. Though these stations are very few, we find just a few, maybe 5 or 6, so they really don't cover the entire lake space. And some even they have been vandalized at some time. You find like maybe they are lost and you don't know where they are. So still like we need more like the buoys, but also to integrate the data now to be able to interpret what is being generated, to be able to support the management and monitoring of these lakes. The other aspect that we have been looking at is the use of satellite and remote sensing data for large-scale monitoring, because some of the areas in the lakes, they are very remote and they can't be reached. So I've been trying to look on the possibilities of using satellite remote sensing data for water quality monitoring in real-time trends, and in the application maybe using the deep learning models just to identify and predict extreme events like the harmful algal blooms and so forth. And this, we foresee they improve the large-scale lake ecosystem monitoring without relying solely on manual fieldwork, which is the actual practice now with most of the institutions. There have been some ongoing efforts within the Lake Victoria Basin on how now we can do the application of remote sensing and coupling with artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques to come up with models that they can predict water quality trends. Though we are not yet there, so there are some training going on remote sensing, but also some other researchers from the global north, they are trying to come in also to join the research effort on how best now we can develop these models and be able to monitor these lakes in real time. Another area that we are looking at is predictive modeling for climate resilience. As we all know, like climate change is very now in our area, it's very, we can observe it, and particularly affecting the rise of these Great Lakes, like we have been experiencing floods and some other issues related to climate change, even temperature increase in water quality. And so we foresee maybe having some AI-driven predictive models that they can help us to forecast lake level, temperature fluctuation, and so forth, to help in adaptive management strategies in these lakes. Looking at most of the lakes now, they are even trying now to adapt the cage fish farming, and some cases you'll find the fish farmers will be reporting in maybe massive kill of their fish. Just looking at, sometimes you find the temperature have changed or the water levels have changed just abruptly, without having an early warning system that they can warn them on what might be happening in the few coming days. And another thing that we are trying to see in the African Great Lakes is having smart decision support system for resource management. You'll find most of the resource managers, they don't have powered decision support tools that integrate different data sources just to be able to help them to manage and also to recommend the best way of managing these African Great Lakes. And last but not in the least is enhancing cross-border water governance in African Great Lakes. I've mentioned most of these lakes, they are shared, and you can find if having 10 countries that are sharing these water resources, it's not an easy. You find Lake Victoria, it has 4 member states who share the lake, but in terms of the basin, there are more than 5 countries who share the same basin. Same goes to Lake Tanganyika, which is somewhere here. The member states who share the lake itself, there are 4 member states, but when you're looking on the basin wide, it's more than 5 or 6 countries that share the basin. So coming with data sharing platform that can help them to manage the lake and facilitate collaboration. Looking at some other countries, even they don't share the same languages. It's very important and very key for harmonized monitoring and management of these transponder lakes. Of course, under care, they have tried to develop a platform. It's about data sharing platform where all the member states and all the stakeholders from these African Great Lakes, they can be able to share their data. But now looking forward, like, okay, this is like manual, someone has to share its data, but can we use AI just to integrate like automated system that someone maybe is putting the data in their own database and so forth, they can be able just to come automatically in this platform. So that also maybe we can just look at it and maybe you can provide advice on that. But what are the challenges currently? Of course, there are some other challenges like in terms of data and so forth. But the challenges currently are high initial investment in some of the equipment like the sensors. Sometimes they need high initial investment like the buoys. But another limited challenge, the limited technical expertise. And I'm happy when I was looking at the website of the Michigan, the Institute of AI and Data, I found like there's an option for African to be trained, to be equipped with the skills in AI. So we have limited expertise in AI and data skills, and this we need training and improvement of most of the researchers and authorities to be able to use the AI in their implementation and management of these African Great Lakes. But also the maintenance and sustainability, which in most cases they need long-term funding and technical support to be able to use the data in long term. So what are the future direction and call to action? Of course, there's the need for more investment in AI-driven water governance for sustainable management of African Great Lakes. We can't be lagging behind, we have to move forward, but also collaboration, of course, between the member state, but here also I'm talking collaboration between the Global South and the Global North, looking at the research opportunities and capacity building opportunities. I think we can collaborate and come up with solutions and develop models and tools that they can help in the management of these African Great Lakes in real time. But also call for pilot projects and capacity building initiative. Also, this is about collaboration between the Global South and the Global North, but also within the member states, like to come up with pilot projects and also capacity building, especially to researchers and people who are working with this institution within the African Great Lakes. So my take-home message is just there, and I will just narrate it. Harnessing the power of AI for African Great Lakes management is not just about technology, it's about securing a sustainable future for our freshwater ecosystem and the communities that depend on them. So together, let's turn data into action and innovation into impact. Thank you.
How many nations surround the African Great Lakes that have to be brought into collaboration?
Okay, like for the African Great Lakes, we have 10 nations, the major 10 major nations. But going beyond, some nation comes in terms of sharing the basin itself. There's some that they share the lake as the lake, like access to the water, but some even they go beyond because of the basin, itself. Yes.
Right. So is there a collaborative mechanism in play now?
Yes. So through the African Center of Aquatic Research and Education, it's a platform where now it brings together all the stakeholders from all the member states, where we usually meet. We have advisory groups where we discuss, like on each lake, there are advisory groups. I can give an example where I belong. It's Lake Victoria. I'm currently on an advisory group on Lake Victoria. It's voluntary work. So we are just in there as an expert in water, in biodiversity, anything related to water and management. And then you discuss. You discuss the management, you discuss research, area of research, area of policies, and maybe the way forward. So in that network, people come together from different countries. Like from Lake Victoria, we are 3 main countries, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, where we meet monthly. We discuss modalities of best way of management and monitoring of these African Great Lakes, and even to be able maybe to advise the policy makers and decision makers on the way forward. So the platform is existing, at least. It has like 3, 4, 5 years since it was born. And we usually have 1 year general meeting where we all meet, all member states meet, all stakeholders meet. So they discuss and plan their way forward for the year, like what do they want to do. I can give you some of the output now. People are trying to write research papers together, write projects together from those member states on the way forward on the management, monitoring, and research in their lakes.
Sorry,
It's okay.
But the Great Lakes here are contiguous in that they flow from Lake Superior, but ultimately into the Atlantic, and thus they interact and have an impact on each other that's quite unique. But I don't know if they're contiguous, if the African Great Lakes are contiguous in that same way. So we have had a lamprey problem that was killing fish, that it needed to be dealt with in all of the lakes. Are there similar kinds of problems that are endemic to all of them because they're contiguous?
Okay, there are some few of the lakes that are continuous. I can just show you quickly from the map, but some they connect with like the Lake Kivu, Lake Edward, Lake Albert. They are kind of continuous because they are connected with the river systems, and they go down way to River Nile, the Nile River. We all know how important it is, which goes down to Egypt. So they all connect. So there are some they share similar problem like inversions. So you find like, okay, from one lake to another, they share inversions and so forth. But some, they are just connected with other small water bodies within their basin and their catchment. So you find like, we have a problem of invasive weeds, the weeds in Lake Victoria, but you find it goes down even to these small lakes here because they all connect from Lake Victoria going to Lake Edward, Lake Albert, and go down. So you find the same problem. But because some of the lakes, they are satellite lakes, they are connected, you find maybe most of the African Great Lakes, of course, they are very beautiful, and so you find like migratory birds, they can take seeds from one lake to another. So you find some, they share common, similar problems because of the connectivity, but some, they have their own like very special, unique problems. So they can't share similar problem with some of the Laurentian Great Lakes. Like Lake Erie, we always mimic it with Lake Victoria because it's shallow, sedimentation because of agricultural problems and so forth. But looking at data, monitoring trends and data, of course, the Laurentian Great Lakes, they have gone far in terms of data, monitoring and so forth. Looking at Lake Erie also, they have been doing using AI and remote sensing in predicting algal blooms, predicting water quality trends, of course, which we are trying in Lake Victoria, but we are not yet there. So we are trying just to do that and come up with those models that they can help in the management. But also why Great Lakes in Africa, they are very different from here because fisheries is one of the important socioeconomic activities on those lakes. So if we have bad water quality, it means it goes beyond just having bad water. It goes beyond to people's livelihood, because they depend on fisheries for their livelihood. Most of those people who are living in the riparian of these lakes. But apart from that, even you have issues like for bad water quality, we have issues in waterborne diseases, like some of the neglected tropical disease, including bilharzia, which also we foresee maybe if we can come with models that we can be able to predict, maybe looking at the AI models, but coupling it with maybe environmental DNA, that we can come with some prediction and maybe to be able to tell even the managers, probably with this environmental condition, it's more easy for outbreak of this disease rather than having this kind of environmental condition.
other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.